Hey, this is Eric Jones from Target Centered Golf. We have a star guest appearance at our range today, LPGA star Pat Hurst. Now, tell us what you're working on in the off season right now, in the next month, to get ready to go play tour.
Yeah, definitely. I finished my tour at the week before Thanksgiving, and then I take off about a month. So when I come back, I try to get my endurance back up. I work out, do a lot of cardio. I try to work on my swing, just getting loose, getting back to the basics, alignment, grip, posture. I try to do just basically the basics and get back to the feel of things and getting. And once I get the feel of everything, then I start working on a little more technique.
So pretty much just like Jack Nicklaus, no matter how good you are, you go back at the beginning of every year. Just let me know what's my grip look like, how's my stance, how's my posture. Great place to start. And now you mentioned one thing else, you really are looking for getting your feel. So once you get your basics down, grip, stance, posture, alignment, all the rest of that, you're looking for feel. How are you doing that when you practice?
I do a lot of that with my short game. Basically, I do a lot of wedges. Out here I can hit anything. I can hit from 10 yards all the way up to 100 yards. And so,
yeah, we have greens and targets
yes,
and everything out here.
Everything. So, I try to work on that, and to me that gets my feel back. And I do different shots. I'll do one 10-yard or 100 yards, then come back and do it, 50 yard, and just work on getting my feel back that way.
What do you look for when you say feel? How does that translate for you? How could an amateur golfer look for feel in their swing? What sort of things would they look for?
It's just you have to practice. That's the bottom line, is practicing. And if you don't practice, you can't get your feel. With anything. You throw a baseball, you shoot baskets. The more you practice, the better your feel will get.
And how much time would you spend in a normal practice out here, just sort of getting ready?
Out here hitting balls, I'll spend about an hour and a half, and then I'll go and I'll chip and putt for another hour or so. So, and then obviously golf, depends on what day I play. It takes me, 4 to 5 hours to play. So, some days I play, some days I don't. I tend to go down to the desert a little bit right now to get out and play a little bit more and have a little more time there. So, it's working on, like I said, my endurance, working on my short game, working on my putting, working on getting the feel back.
So if you had some advice to give to an amateur who's really at the beginning of their season, just looking to get back, and they kind of want to, shake the rust off the clubs and figure out what they need to do to get back and maybe get a little bit better this year, how would you advise them to kind of get started with their own season?
Yeah, I would definitely say fundamentals. It's all about fundamentals, and like I said, getting back to, lining up properly, having the correct grip, correct posture. Bottom line is if you don't have any of those right from the get-go, you're not going to hit the ball well.
So setting yourself up to win in the very beginning is really obviously a very important part.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And again, if you don't practice your short game, if I miss a green and I know I can get it up, if I miss a green, I know I can get it up and down. It's a lot easier for me to go right at the pin. So, if
that gives you more confidence.
Correct. And so you definitely have to work on your short game, and that in turn gives you more confidence to actually go at the pins.
Do you use the concept of scoring clubs or scoring distances for yourself out there? Obviously, there's greenside shots around the green, but do you use the concept of scoring shots?
What do you mean?
Oh, something, from 40, 60, 70 up to 100, 120, the shots where you go directly at the pin.
Yeah, you mean would I lay up on a par 5 to get me into? Yes, yeah. I definitely would do that. It depends on the golf course and what type of hole it is, but sometimes it's not real effective to hit the ball as far as I can to get up 35 yards away from the green versus hitting a 85-yard shot, which is a full lob wedge for me, hitting it into a hole where I can stop the ball a little bit better. So it all depends on where the pin is and what type of hole it is, what I'm going to do, and how far back I would lay it up.
So very important clue for playing really good course navigation, managing yourself around the golf course. Do you have a favorite wedge distance?
Like I said, 85 is my lob wedge. 105 is my 50. 97 is my 54. 107 is my 50.
And you prefer a full swing from each of those as opposed to a
definitely,
three-quarters?
Definitely, because I can control the spin a little bit more. Sometimes if you have a 35, 40, 45, 50-yard shot, the spin isn't as consistent as if I would have a full shot into the green.
So you will purposely plan your holes to be at your yardages where you know you can have a full swing.
Try to, yes.
So that doesn't
definitely.
always mean taking a driver off the tee.
Correct.
Very important
Correct.
lesson for a lot of our
Yes,
golfers
it's
who
all
think
about course management.
it's all about course management
Yes.
and putting yourself in the best position
Correct.
to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific.
Yes.
Okay, is there any one other piece of advice that you could give to somebody else? Again, let's get back to our practice sessions here. So we talked a lot about how important it is to get the fundamentals, grip, posture, alignment, stance, balance, and then working on short game here and developing a real feel, and how important practice is for generating that feel and then coming back to it. Is there any other advice that you'd give to someone just kind of getting ready? You know, let's say I got my grip, all my basics ready. What should I work on next, or what piece of advice would you give them?
I think it's just to go out and have a good time. You got to enjoy the game. You can't get upset at yourself. If you're getting back into the game, after a little bit of a break, just go out and have fun. That's the bottom line, is to enjoy it. This is a sport. We all go out and we should have fun at it. So I definitely do. I enjoy it. I enjoy playing. I enjoy playing with my friends, and this is a great game where I can play with anybody of any skill. Whether you're a 0 handicap, scratch to a 15 or 25, it doesn't matter. We can all have the same amount of fun.
And how about any specific advice for ladies? Let's say ladies who play a reasonable amount of golf, but they want to give their, it's the beginning of their season. Any specific advice for them?
Course management. A lot of it's course management. A lot of the ladies are pretty good chippers and putters, and so the course management, laying it up to where they feel like they can have a full swing instead of having those tough shots again.
Those intermediate swings are really tough to manage.
Yeah,
both
and
distance
people don't
and direction.
realize that. I play in pro-ams every week, and it's amazing how we always, my amateurs always want to pick the closest one to the green, and sometimes that's not always the best option. But you see that week in, week out, when that they want to take that longest shot. So sometimes it's not always the best option.
Right. And the other thing that I hear a lot from other tour players that we talk to about their amateurs is that they consistently underclub themselves. What would you say about that?
Definitely. When I went to college, at San Jose State, my coach is always telling us get the ball to the hole, and that's one thing that's been in my head ever since I was 18 years old, is get the ball to the hole, and I definitely, if I err, I think I would err more on the long side, just because most people don't.
Right. They don't always hit a perfect shot.
No.
So I think we have in our minds an ideal shot. Oh, I can hit my 7-iron X yards, and that's their perfect shot. But how often do they hit their perfect shot?
It's not a game of perfection. It's a game of who can hit it, who can miss it the best, basically, because you can't. There's no way you can perfect golf.
Yeah.
So you, like I said, enjoy it. And don't think that you are going to be perfect out here, because it's not going to happen.
And
Sorry.
allow for your imperfections.
Yeah.
And if you allow for them, you'll be a lot more comfortable and have more fun.
Exactly.
Right on. Hey Pat, listen, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes. I know you got a busy schedule out here. I wish you all the best on the tour. I'll be watching you, and hopefully some of our fans will be watching as well.